Hello, everyone. Today I want to share another story from my life and my experience buying used cars in America. Maybe this story will help someone avoid the same mistake. In one of my previous videos, I talked about my Mazda Tribute. After the transmission started failing, I decided it was time to look for another vehicle. I started searching through online listings in New York. The first car I looked at was a 2010 Ford Escape. It had around 100,000 miles on it. In many ways, it reminded me of my Mazda Tribute. Same type of SUV, similar age, similar size. The dealer had cleaned it very well. The interior looked nice. Under the hood, everything appeared clean too. No obvious leaks. No major issues during the test drive. But after we got back, I noticed rust around the rear door. It looked like someone had simply painted over it before putting the car up for sale. The rust was already spreading underneath. I knew from experience that rust never gets better. Once it starts spreading, repairs become expensive and time-consuming. That made me hesitate. So I continued looking. The next vehicle was a 2011 Kia Optima. It had only about 67,000 miles. For a car that was almost 10 years old, that seemed like low mileage. The classic story. Driven by an older lady, mostly grocery store and back. We've all heard that one before. The car wasn't perfect. It had scratches and repaired body damage in several places. You could tell it had lived a life. But overall, it looked decent. I had never owned a Korean car before. This was my first Kia. Unlike the Ford Escape, it was a sedan. And my family actually preferred the Kia. Personally, I was leaning toward the Ford. But after discussing it, we decided on the Optima. The seller was very talkative, very friendly. He kept telling stories. He said he used to live in my neighborhood. He talked about his family, his kids, his businesses. One of those people who always have something to say. Looking back, maybe he was trying a little too hard. But at the time, I didn't think much about it. Americans often make small talk. People are friendly, so I ignored my doubts. One thing did concern me. The seller mentioned that the check engine light had been on. He said they had fixed the issue and cleared the code. The inspection had passed. Everything was ready for registration. I accepted that explanation. After all, older cars often have small issues. Nothing seemed too serious. So I bought the car. The very next day, we went grocery shopping. And after leaving the store, the check engine light came back on. Suddenly, the car lost power. It barely accelerated. It would move, but very slowly. Almost like it was stuck in one gear. That's when I started getting nervous. The paperwork was already done. The money was gone. The car was mine. I called the seller. He answered, but his attitude had changed. The conversation felt very different from before. You know how it is. Once the sale is complete, some people become much less interested in helping. Still, he told me to bring the car back. He said his mechanics would take care of it. He also reminded me that he had promised to install a backup camera. To his credit, he did follow through. The check engine issue was fixed. The backup camera was installed. And after that, I didn't have any more warning lights. For about 6 months, everything seemed fine. I changed the oil regularly. The car drove well. No major issues. No warning signs. Then one day, while driving on the highway, everything changed. Without warning, the engine shut down. Completely. I was moving with traffic when it happened. Somehow, I managed to coast toward an exit ramp. Road workers nearby helped push the car to a safer location. But I already knew this wasn't going to be a simple repair. I called a tow truck. The car was taken to a local repair shop. The mechanics checked it. Then they came back with the news. The engine had seized. It wouldn't turn. It wouldn't crank. It was finished. Just like that. The very same evening, I listed the car for sale. I was completely honest. I wrote, "The vehicle does not run. Engine seized." Surprisingly, people started contacting me immediately. The next morning, a buyer arrived. He looked at the car. He already knew what happened. Apparently, rebuilding and reselling these vehicles was his business. We agreed on a price. The car was sold. And that was the end of my Kia Optima. The money I received from selling it became the down payment for my next vehicle. And after that experience, I stopped buying older used cars. Maybe some people have good luck with used vehicles. But for me, it felt like a lottery. A car can look perfect. It can drive perfectly. And then 6 months later, the engine can fail without warning. My advice is simple. Buy vehicles with a documented maintenance history. Have them inspected before purchase. And don't rely only on what the seller tells you. Hopefully my experience can save someone else from making the same mistake. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Have you ever had a bad experience buying a used car? Let me know below. See you in the next video.